Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Week 8 NFL preview. And we're going to do a little review of the Week 7 slate as well. It was a wild week, and this coming week looks pretty exciting as well. I would expect that Bo Nix ends up incredibly high owned after that huge performance he had last week, and now he gets the Cowboys. We're going to dive into that and everything else soon. Before we get into it, come join us at LineStar. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do, the props, the DFS. You get it all for one low price. If you have never tried us out before, we also do have a nice free trial option. You can get 7 days free to come try us out and join in the fun. You get everything you see here, as well as the DFS on both the apps and on the website, Android or iOS app, as well as web. Now, let's dive into it. I'm your host, Tyler Weeman, and let's get after it. We got a nice 10-game slate on our hands here, and it looks like a very interesting one. We have a 49.5 game total in Baltimore. We do expect Lamar Jackson to be back, so that is nice. 46.5 Buffalo versus Carolina. 46.5 for Tampa Bay, New Orleans, and a 50.5 total with Dallas versus Denver. And what should be an absolute blowout and maybe another huge Jonathan Taylor game, 47.5 total in Tennessee versus Indianapolis. Minus 14-point spread. It is insane. At no point in this year did I expect the Colts to have a 14-point spread. But hey, here we are in week 8. And that's happening. Now let's dive into it. So we always do running backs and wide receivers. I just wanted to point one thing out here. We have the Dallas Cowboys versus Denver Broncos. It should be, a somewhat close game here. And Bo Nix, who just went for, 40? Last week, yes, 40 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 279 yards throwing, and 2 more tutties, putting up 40 points, is now going against the worst team or the worst defense in the NFL that is 32nd versus quarterback. This one lines up to be a very exciting one, and it could be a super fun game on both sides. Outside of that, the QB matchups at the top aren't all that intriguing. I mean, we have Cam Ward, who hasn't been good. He hasn't posted a game bigger than 13 points yet. So going to be hard to want to go to that one. Tyrod Taylor looks like he is going to be the starting quarterback for the Bengals. His price is obviously going to be cheap. 4,500. He's a rushing quarterback, so maybe some upside there versus that bad defense. But I mean, Jets, if Wilson isn't back, he still has nobody to throw to, and it's not like he looked good last week. Jalen Hurts, we need some more rushing upside from him now, but he had some huge passing upside. 326-3 last week versus the Vikings, and now he gets a much better competition or much better matchup in the Giants. All right, so let's look at running back one, and I think we're going to have some major chalk this week because we have Bijan Robinson versus Miami. This is the spot that brought everybody to Quinshon Judkins last week. And now we get one of the best backs in the NFL. Obviously, it's a 5-star alert score. Not only is it versus Miami, it is Miami in Atlanta. This just looks like an amazing spot for Bijan. He's already averaging 26.2 fantasy points per game. And he's in a spot against the team that is allowing 29.1 per game. And they rank 30th in the NFL. against the running back. So obviously this profiles as just an amazing spot. We don't need to go too much into detail here, but at 8,800, people are going to be wanting to play their Bijan Robinson, and it makes a ton of sense. The only thing that should keep his ownership down is the fact that on the other, we also have Jonathan Taylor in an amazing spot versus Tennessee, who's 31st on our team defense tool against the running back. And JT has been nothing short of absolutely spectacular, averaging 26.9 per game. He has 11 touchdowns on the year. The Raiders' entire offense has 10. Tennessee, who he is going against, has 6. They have 6 touchdowns on the season, and Jonathan Taylor has 11. Just an absolutely wild setup here where Jonathan Taylor, once again, could have more touchdowns than Tennessee does in this matchup. And Tennessee, as far as stats, ranked 27th versus the running back. We don't need to go into any more detail. Obviously, this is an amazing setup. And I mean, JT already has 4 30-point games, and we're only into week 8. This guy is on just an incredible run, almost at 700 yards rushing, over 700 yards if you add his receiving work, and then 11 touchdowns on the year. Congrats to him. What a season. Now let's keep it rolling. Next, we have Alvin Kamara versus the 30th ranked Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, this one is not as good of a spot as it leads on to. And the reason being is so far this season, we have not seen the Kamara upside in the receptions. 3.6 per game is what he's averaging on the season, but this is a premier pass catching spot. And that is where the value has been derived from. They are allowing 1.3 touchdowns per game over the last 4, 0.9 over the season. Opponent rank is 26, but if you look at the stats the Bucs have allowed, it's been to the receiving backs. On the ground, they have been struggling. So I don't love this Kamara spot. Frankly, they have really, really been struggling to get anything going on the ground with Kamara. They lost Kendre Miller, which does give Kamara some additional work. He should be back to these first weeks, kind of level where he had 21 carries, 6 receptions, 11 and 2. As long as he stays in this game, or the Saints stay in this game, so Kamara keeps getting work, it does profile as a high workload spot, but I can't go, into too much after that. Next, we got Woody Marks. This is a guy that I was high on going into last night. I did expect him to get much more work than Nick Chubb, and that happened. He had 63% of the snaps to Nick Chubb's 25%. We're in a 4.5-star alert score. He is expected to be the RB1. He is versus the 49ers. It is a low game total, but the Texans are going to stay in this game. And if Woody Marks continues to get 60+% of the backfield work, it does profile to be a very interesting game. Now, this 63% of the work could be a little bit misleading. He is by far the better pass blocking back, the better pass catching back, and it could have been game script that pulled Nick Chubb out a little bit more. I don't want to put too many feathers in my hat as far as seeing this switch happening, because it very easily could just go back to a 50-50 time split here. But where Woody Marks will get it done is the receiving game. That's where he has got it done, a decent amount this season. And that's where this spot profiles much better, as over the last 4, they've allowed 5 receptions for 39 yards, 0.8 touchdowns, 90 rushing yards per game. It's an interesting spot for a $5,100 back that could now have the lion's share of the work. Next, we got J.K. Dobbins versus the Dallas Cowboys. Dobbins clearly the WR1. This spot for versus the Cowboys has been fruitful. And now we got a spot where they're 27th versus RB1. 5-star alert score for Dobbins. Dallas ranked 24th, allowing 102.7 yards per game. The only issue here is they're allowing 0.7 touchdowns on the season, 0.8 over the last 4. For Dobbins to really pay off, he needs to get in the end zone once or twice. He's not getting much done in the receptions category, as he only has 1 reception per game for 3 yards. And that is where the Cowboys have really given it up. They've given it up a little bit on the ground, but they've got really beat up through the air to the running back. So while it profiles as a very interesting spot, he is going to need solid touchdown variance to go his way to really be profitable. Now, there is absolutely a chance of him running 1 in. 2 is the big question mark. If he gets 2, he has, a clear path to being optimal, but it's a big if. The other aspect is, when does RJ Harvey take a little bit more of this backfield? So far, we haven't seen it. But Dobbins been playing 55% of the snaps pretty consistently, and I would expect that to continue this game. Now, let's get over to the wide receivers. Let me check back, just make sure if we have some comments here. Is Devontae Adams and Mike Evans for Rachaad White and Ozune a good trade? Well, Mike Evans could be done for the season. So at least for the fantasy season, he could be done. It looks like it is a broken clavicle. We have no idea exactly when he will be back yet. But, I mean, the season's ending, for most leagues at least, week 17. That would be the championship. That is, 10 weeks out or 9 weeks out? Broken bone, you're looking at probably 8 to 12 weeks. So it's really Devontae Adams for White and Ozune. White is probably only the starter for 1 more week. I would say it makes no sense for the Bucs to bring Bucky Irving back this week. They have a bye in week 9. So that would mean Bucky Irving likely back week 10. If you are looking if you really need running back help, I would say at least for this week, you really need it. By all means, go for it. If you're trading away Devontae Adams and getting White and Ozune and you need the RB help, do it. Adams is obviously a premier player, and without Puka, he's going to be a WR1, and with Puka, he's still a WR2, probably similar to Ozune. So if you need that RB help this week where you have Genty and Gibbs, I would say absolutely do it, especially if you need these wins right now. If you're not, say, 6-1, 5-2, and you need to put some wins to get into the playoffs, by all means, I would do it for sure. And you're trading away Evans, who I wouldn't worry about trading away at whatsoever, as he's probably not adding you anything for this season. All right, let's get back into the wide receiver category here. And we're talking Courtland Sutton. Oh, you're 6-1. Do it, dude. You need the wins. You have Gibbs and Genty on bye. That is your opportunity for a win this week. So I 100% would do it. You lose again, and your season's probably over anyways. All right, sorry to put that out there on you, but I'm sure you know as well. Courtland Sutton, we got Denver. Versus Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys 32nd versus wide receiver 1. Cortland Sutton is in a prime spot. Now, he had a solid game last week. 10 targets, 6 for 87, but didn't throw in the touchdown for you. But now he's in a better spot versus the Cowboys, who opponent rank 168.9 opponent for the season receiving yards allowed, allowing 1.7 touchdowns. Sutton is a clear top target in the red zone, and the opponent rank is 31. I love this spot for Sutton, as pretty much anybody playing Dallas has been in a great spot all season long, and that is going to continue. 50.5 game total. I would expect Sutton is super chalky this week, but it is some good chalk. What's going on, Eddie? Thank you for showing up. Hope you got that eliminator through. I know you had a little bit of a sweat. I narrowly got mine through. It was by like 0.1 something points. And it was a fun one, but hey, eliminators get real fun and real fun to sweat from here on out. Oh, bummer, you lost it. Sorry for your loss. All right, next we got Khalil Shakir. Now, we know this Buffalo spot is a weird one. They have Shakir and Coleman. Coleman is essentially the wide receiver 1 as far as snap counts, but targets, it's split between Shakir and Coleman. Coleman has like 45 more snaps than Shakir does, but Shakir only has 1 less target. So this wide receiver 1 spot could be Coleman, could be Shakir. It's still a little fuzzy. Right now we have it as a Shakir. 30th versus wide receiver 1 is Carolina Panthers. You might want to throw Coleman in here. Either one, it's a very interesting spot. The one aspect is, can Carolina keep up with the Bills to make the Bills throw? That's my only issue for this spot, but it is an interesting one. Shakir, Coleman, both obviously have some viability. I don't mind going there. Next, we got Tet McMillan. Now, this is a super interesting one. It is going to be at Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton targeted Xavier Legette at an insane amount last game. I think Tet probably gets these targets next week, and he is a very good receiver, big time upside, and in a good matchup. I'm very interested in it. And if Panthers get down, they're going to have to throw a lot. And I think Tet McMillan could get a ton of targets. So very interested in Tet. Colts versus Tennessee. Colts have been a very good matchup for wide receivers. The issue is we got Cam Ward throwing the ball, and if Calvin Ridley's out, it's Alec Ayamanor, who could be the wide receiver 1. Doesn't give you a whole lot. He hasn't done all that much this season, but he is a very cheap wide receiver 1. You're looking at guaranteed volume. It should be a game where Cam Ward has to sling it a ton, because it is very unlikely the Titans are able to stay in this game. So they could be throwing a ton. I think there is interest in Ayamanor or any of the spots there. Drake London's popping up 22nd versus wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins. My issue here is we have seen the Atlanta Falcons, especially at home, would just much rather run the ball. Now, if they get a lead, we're going to have a ton of work for Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. And I wanted to make sure I mentioned Algier on this show, because while it's a great matchup for Robinson, there is absolutely a clear path where the Atlanta Falcons get to a huge lead early, and we see one of these games from Algier where he gets, 40% of the snaps, let's say 35% of the snaps, because they're just running the ball so much. And if that's the case, Algier does have some upside. We have seen some nice games from him. Now, London, Obviously, the RB1 or sorry, WR1 in this spot for this team, but when they're ahead, like versus Minnesota, they won 22-6. He had 4 targets. If they are commanding this game, his target counts could be down. And I do not think this Miami team, with how it's playing versus a solid defense in Atlanta, can really keep up with Miami scoring or with Atlanta scoring. And thus, I have worries about Drake London. WR2, DK is super interesting versus the Colts. He has big playability and is 3,400, going to get some targets. Had 4 last week, 4 for 70 to Tutty. If Ridley's out, that would be expected. Giants, great spot versus for Devonta Smith. If you want to go with Hurts, makes a ton of sense. Pickens as the WR2 in a fantastic spot versus Denver. Surtain, we're not sure. Is he going to shadow CD? Will they just keep him on either one of Pickens or Lamb? You know, how that works out, I'm not totally sure. Expectation would probably be he's all over Lamb, and then Pickens is, you know, running wild to create some big plays. Kind of an interesting situation. And this Houston spot we need to watch because Nico Collins could be out. Then we have Jaden Higgins. We have Christian Kirk possibly back. Noel, all probably in the mix, and all are going to be cheap and very interesting. So those are our, you know, quick preview of week 8. Now let's check out what we got from week 7. So perfect lineup on DraftKings. Bo Nix, Quinshon Judkins, Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. Very funny 2 WR stack with no quarterback. Doesn't happen very often. And then we also have that with Keenan and a tight end, Aronde Gadsden. Gadsden just 3,300 and goes and throws up a 32.4 game. The league is officially on notice as Gadsden is the threat. 8 targets, 7 for 164 and a tutty. The week before, 8 targets, 7 for 68. Dude is the tight end 1 now and going to be getting a ton of work. So he's very interesting moving forward. Then we had Trey McBride, so dual tight end and Browns D with the winning lineup on DraftKings going to Alexander Cole. Congrats to him. They had Herbert, they had Gadsden and Keenan stack with the run back of Jonathan Taylor. Javonte Williams got it done here. Ray Rice, the chalk, they ate it. He got lucky with 7 for 42 and 2 touchdowns. And Chris Olave with 2 tutties himself, narrowly missing the 100-yard bonus with 98 on 5 receptions. And then McBride was a 2 tutty. This man, had he parlayed 2 tutties from Trey McBride, Olave, Rice, and 3 tutties from Jonathan Taylor. I wonder what that parlay would have been, because they probably would have paid an absolute ton as well. Would have been interesting to see what that would pay. I wonder if it would be at all close. Let's go to second place. Second place had a very similar lineup, but they had a Nix and Sutton combo, whereas he had Herbert plus the wide receivers. Jonathan Taylor, Judkins, Sutton, Olave, Addison, Gadsden, Javonte, lost by a little under 1 point. And then third place was that Charger stack with Taylor coming back, Rice, Sutton, Judkins, and Browns. So congrats to those top 3. Let's check out Fanduel now. Fanduel perfect lineup: Nix, Judkins, Taylor, Devontae, AJ Brown, Olave, Gadsden, Young, Allen, and Browns, with the winning lineup going to JBHSD 23. They had Herbert, Johnson, Allen, and Gadsden. So a full onslaught with Jonathan Taylor running back. That makes absolute ton of sense, as that was kind of the gameplay that we saw. Colts went out to a huge lead. Jonathan Taylor was used to ice the game away and just racked up a ton of touchdowns in doing so. And then Herbert had to just sling it. Johnston touchdown, Allen touchdowns, Gadsden huge game and tutties. And then obviously Judkins was in an amazing spot, had that RB defense stack. Nice lineup. Congrats to them. And then Jonesy got second, had similar but missed Gadsden, and that's pretty much what lost it for him. He had Allen, and Pittman was his run back instead of Jonathan Taylor, which also obviously hurt him. But they had Devontae Smith and Trey McBride. So that will do it for us. Let me catch up on some of these chats because I have missed them all. Eddie, 32% advancement at BBM. Solid. That's very good. Who do you think would be better at flex? Azun or Tet? That is that's a tough one. So we got Baltimore. Oh man, that's a toss up, and I would probably be trying to play both of the guys on, honestly. Who's your other wide receiver? Oh man, yeah, Eddie, your Mike Evan bags are done. Mine as well. I had a decent amount of him. Yes, everybody, please crush that like button, comment, retweet, all that stuff helps for sure. Yeah, I don't really have Gadsden either. It's not likely that a rookie tight end this late was really gonna have some. I did play a little bit in DFS. I had an interesting lineup on Yahoo where I was like, I don't know. I think I placed around 600th, and I had Fields as my quarterback. So, pretty big bummer there because the opportunity was absolutely there for a takedown with that lineup construction, just a different quarterback. Best stack, man. So the one thing I would say about stacks, which is hard to come up with right now, is I have no idea how ownership will shake out. But when you look at our stacks, you got Dallas and Denver. That game is by far the highest total, or 1 point highest total. I think Knicks makes a ton of sense. Dallas receivers are great for bring back. You got the rushing upside. I don't mind going to Dak as well. I think going Dak, Ferguson, and say Pickens isn't, too expensive. And interesting way to go. You have the clear Sutton or Dobbins bring back if you want. This Baltimore and Chicago game, I think, is extremely interesting. This Chicago team, the offense seems like it's starting to roll. Baltimore needs wins. Lamar is probably going to be back. Not sure the defensive starters here for Baltimore, but if they're still beat up on the defensive side, I could see this game going over for sure. Also, I haven't looked at the weather yet in that game, but barring good weather as it is in Baltimore, that profiles to a very good game. And I would say one of those are my favorite. This going with the Colts stack with Danny Dimes is tricky because he's going to have to get 4 touchdowns in the first half, probably, for that one to pay off. And we just haven't seen that kind of upside, that kind of passing upside from him. So I worry about that one. So right now, I think Chicago, Baltimore, Denver, Dallas are by far the most interesting stacks. And my favorite right now is probably Bo Nix. Keem, what's going on? Thanks for showing up. Yeah, all three of them are pretty solid options this week. Start Devontae Smith or Chris Olave. Ooh. I would have to say Olave as far as safety, just because you know he's going to get targeted, especially if it is, say, like a full point PPR. Devontae Smith has the upside that Olave can't touch, but you also can get that, say, 5-point game out of him where you're not likely to get from Olave. Olave is going to be a consistent double digits. There is that upside potential, but it's just not as likely, as the Saints just aren't as good of an offense. Yes, Josh, Lamar Jackson is expected to be back. So that'll do it for us today, guys. I got to get out of here, but thank you guys for hanging out for a bit. And yes, Keem, I absolutely agree. Rattler is growing. He's been decent. Please, guys, like, comment, subscribe to the video. Come try us at LionStar if you have not already. Remember, we do have a free 7-day trial to go through the app stores, Android or iOS, and try us out there. See you guys later.